Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
Hello there and welcome to a sunny Thursday, the 14th of November, 2013. I'm glad we're heading into an even numbered year because I for some reason I like them better. Why is that? I like the way they sound. I like the idea of 2014. I don't know.
That's very peculiar.
11, 13, 7, 9. They strike me as odd.
There you've got it.
There,
Your
I must
answer.
have. Oh,
God, one.
I got it. I must somewhere in my head the fact that they're odd conflated with odd.
Oh, well, since we've begun with that profundity, Ninu, shall
Oh
we
my
go
God!
on to...
No, I think we should leave immediately.
That's really...
Okay, we'll start with this and then get a little into stuff. Joseph has written. By the way, this shooting at Brashear,
I saw
was
that, yes.
I was clueless about it until I was standing at on Liberty Avenue at 7:30 p.m. last night with a large crowd of people, and I'm doing that Valley Girl thing.
Oh.
Did you hear it?
Yeah. A group of people?
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Well, I'm starting to do it. And I was coming from a meeting at
Okay.
which I noted that many of the people giving reports at the meeting were speaking like this too. And I thought, that's it. It's over.
Well, you know, it's not
Because
just...
I was...
Well, but it's not just Valley Girls who do that.
But, it's me.
No. But I mean, but the English often use rising inflection
Yes,
at the end of, and they're certainly not Valley Girls.
No, but it's this da 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 da. There's not just the up. There's like
Lilt.
little sections of speech that you start talking about. Da, da, da. So I was standing on Liberty Avenue and da 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 and da 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 da. I'm not kidding you, and I'm doing it now, and I hate it. I hate it, Tom. I hate
Well,
it.
so just think down.
Down.
think an odd year.
Down.
It's 2013, and think down. I was standing at the corner.
Well,
and it
what
was
would I have
life,
said
and life
before this?
sucks.
What would I have said before this affliction? I was standing on Liberty Avenue.
Standing on the corner.
Watching. I was standing on Liberty Avenue. I'd come from a meeting, and I hear a guy on his cell phone saying, "Yeah, well, it's really amazing. There was this shooting at a school in Pittsburgh, and I don't know, lots of people." And I thought, what? There's a shooting at a school? So I didn't know.
Oh, I thought you were going to say so new. I mean, there's
No,
so, there's
and he
so
would say
many of
yes.
these shootings.
So he was also saying, I don't know, he said something, 3 kids were shot and blah, 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 blah. And I thought, my gosh. And it's so rare now to be out of the loop for as long as
true.
I was. And especially me, I was shocked.
Well, it's very funny you mention that because for some reason or other, the last couple of years, since I've been sort of doing freelance and sometimes I sleep a little later, etc., I used to be an absolute junkie, addicted person to Good Morning America, not Good Morning America, Today's Show. Not because I loved it so much, but like you get all the news.
Basic news.
And now I really don't do that because I usually don't turn on the radio until you come on, of course. I'm so loyal.
you.
Or I pick up the paper at the door of my apartment, and somehow I feel like, oh, I missed it. I'm hearing it a day late. But really, you don't. If you don't turn on those things, and the newspaper is now the slowest form of learning
I guess
news
usually
events.
I'm checking things out on my computer. That's what I'll see it on my computer or my phone, whatever. But so I was in meetings, and I was this, and I was that, and I was blah, 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 blah. At any rate, when I did look up what it was, I thought that what I'd heard on the street was a little overdone,
dramatic. Okay.
yes, and had misled me.
But 3 kids were shot, though.
Yes, but
it wasn't a massacre.
Whatever, and it wasn't in the school, and it was like whatever. So here's Joseph's experience. Mm-hmm. He said, when I got home from work and discovered that not only were all 3 local network affiliates covering the shooting since 3 p.m., preempting all other network or syndicated shows, but for 2.5 hours were essentially repeating the same information or misinformation, as the case may be, over and over again, with nothing new on the story until well after 5. It was unnerving to switch channels constantly only to be bombarded by the same story with conflicting reports of how many were taken into custody for questioning, even to the point of interviewing Peduto's chief of staff, Kevin Acklin, live on television, telling people to stay in their homes.
He's not even mayor yet.
He says, what the Then my pot boiled over when I saw a statement released by our dubious Governor Rendell. I think you mean Corbett, giving his condolences to the families of the shooting victims and pledging all the help his office can give. Yet another, what the Any thoughts on this debacle? Well, I mean, it's overdone, right? I don't know if go so far as to call it a debacle. It's overdone. It's the drill that we all
because you
are
think
familiar
about
with now.
If they would go away, I mean, it would be a combination of I'm standing here and we've heard of 3 bodies, then all of a sudden they cut to Ina Garten making mozzarella salad, and then some other piece of news like go back to, and then you can't tell is it the Garten salad?
I don't know. I think the good old days when we didn't get so
carried away,
thank you, would be better. In other words, you could break into programming,
right.
Let people know there's been a report of, and we'll get back to you when we know something, as opposed to taking us all along on this, standing around waiting for information. And this is what I tend to do during television coverage of this sort, is marvel at the ability of these TV reporters today to continue to talk when they know nothing, to repeat the same thing over and over again with the same kind of energy.
Yes, exactly.
And I could no more have done that as a TV reporter. I would have said things like, we really don't know anything. I mean, I would have just been... Anyway, so that's what it's come to.
And the person in the studio is saying, Casey, is the mother bereft? Are the students all standing there crying? Oh yes,
no, but
Lynn.
you know what you hear in your things like, all right, we're coming to you in 45 seconds, and you could like say back, I got nothing. We're coming to you in 30 seconds. I got nothing, absolutely nothing. All right, okay, call it 3, 2, 1, and. Well, and then you just start, and you start sounding. The whole thing does start seeming absurd.
Yeah, right.
And it is what it does to the public who's sitting at home and watching this is blow it out of proportion.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
This is why people feel unsafe.
Sure.
They overestimate how much violence is happening in the city.
Well, it's interesting. A week ago, I was watching TV, almost about 7:30 in the evening, and this is the first time that this happened. And all of a sudden, on the TV, there was the sign when there's a hurricane coming. You hear like beep, 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 beep. And someone had abducted a child somewhere.
Yes.
Well, this came on 3 or 4 times, and I've never heard that.
No,
ever.
It does happen now, and guess what else it does? It comes on my cell phone.
Oh, really? Wow.
Amber Alerts now come onto your cell phone. And so do other things. I mean, like all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, your phone can go off. I think that's a bit much
bit
myself.
Although they did find the kid quickly, because I think it was by 8:30 or something. They said the person who had been the abductor had been snatched.
Well, back in the day, it's such a sad situation. All right, so 3 kids are shot, another's going to jail, and all, probably a drug deal gone bad, somebody took something from somebody. Back in our day, this would have been bloodied noses and stuff like that. It's the guns.
Well, and it's also probably the news, because even though this is seen as heinous and what have you, it's dramatic. And these kids who've never had anything dramatic happen in their lives, inadvertently, I think sometimes, think, ooh, I'm going to be on TV if I pop my...
No, I don't think they're making that calculation.
I wonder.
No,
really wonder.
The only way they're going to be on TV if they're making that calculation is I'm going to jail or I'm dead. I mean, why would you? No, let's recollect the ages.
Well, how come they really say oftentimes that these things, not to say that these kids aren't either hopped up on drugs or alcohol or are terribly depressed?
No, here's what they are. They're 16 years old.
No,
that's what they are.
But there is a certain aspect of copycatism.
Well, that's true, but it just becomes part of here's what you do in this instance. You get a gun and you shoot the SOBs. Yeah, right. That's right. So... everyone in this story, victim, and they're under the age of 18, right? Or they 18 and not. I mean, we know they're male too, and I rest my case. They're idiots, and they don't know what to do. No, they don't know what to do with their anger. They don't know what to do to resolve disputes. They live in a culture that celebrates. Here's what you do.
Right. It's funny, you're absolutely right. But when you first said that about they're male, but it's true. I can't think of one instance where a teenage girl has. I think
shot up a school.
Right. I remember that was that instance a couple years ago.
No, it's a male thing.
Those girls in Florida beat up this girl. Yeah. And they showed it on the net because she stole someone's boyfriend.
Yeah, I mean, girls are capable of violence, and there are lots. But no, when it comes to this kind of thing, it's overwhelmingly male. So, anyway, that's all I have to say about it, but, jeez. We'll make a big deal about it. There was a story on page 2 of the Wall Street Journal today, which I did not read because it was too depressing, I could tell. I read the first paragraph and said, I can't do this. It'll ruin my day.
Oh, dear.
But it has to do with guns, so I'm just going... I heard a Valley Girl thing there.
Oh, stop it already.
But it has to do with guns.
Oh, that's so funny.
No!
Lynn,
It's wrong!
Lynn,
Okay. But it has to do with guns. Guns. And these 3D plastic guns that can be printed from 3D. Oh, right. You remember that? Which blew my mind when I first heard about it. Okay. There is real concern now that these things are going to be, they're expensive to make, but they'll get cheaper.
Of course.
And they'll get better.
And now they will shoot a bullet?
Oh, yes.
Oh, no, I thought you were on a toy.
No.
Oh, I don't know about this.
This is what...
I've been in my horse's conclusion.
No. So so even if you ban guns, right? People can make them in their basements with a plastic thing, with this 3D. Don't ask me to explain.
No, I know what a 3D
printer is.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
So no, and they work.
Wow.
Okay. So
they can get through.
There is great concern by all people involved with security.
Sure.
That, of course, the TSA metal detecting notwithstanding, these guns are going right through all that stuff, and there's an effort. I think Senator Schumer is behind it, to find some way to, stop this before it starts. But, of course, anything having to do with guns you attempt to stop ain't going to happen. So it's just another layer of insanity to add to the picture of never-ending insanity.
And you probably can colorize them, too, just like iPhones.
Yeah.
I want a pink murder weapon.
Yeah, really. Chris writes, I find it very interesting that Tom mentioned that newspapers today are the slowest form of getting the news. while watching a PBS special last night on JFK. It is just amazing to see how we operate today in getting our news. This special was called November 22, 1 p.m., and it dealt with how Cronkite broke the news to everyone that President Kennedy had died at 1 p.m. that day. It was fascinating how the news unfolded that day and how back then they wouldn't go on the air until the White House confirmed that Kennedy was dead. Even though Cronkite had heard from Dan Rather at the hospital that 2 priests were there and had given last rites and that he was dead. I have just been consumed watching anything this week, and I'm sure next week too, dealing with Kennedy. I turn 50 next month, and yes, I've heard all the stories over the years, but I find it so interesting to see all the different angles that these specials have on that fateful day. I only wish Doug was still around to see all of this. I couldn't help but think last night how much Doug would be so engrossed with all of these documentaries. Yeah. One question I do have, not sure if you or Tom would know, whatever became of Oswald's wife, Marina, and their child? Is his child still living? I haven't seen anything on that yet. Thank you.
There was something on one line that they had been, and I vaguely remembered this from many years ago, that they had given them another name so that they could live.
Well, that would be a good idea. Right. If you were Lee Harvey Oswald's child, I think a name change would be
that child would have to be, oh God, his 50s.
Well, God knows that child's younger than me.
Well, all right. But no, I'm just saying, because the child was a baby, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't
I remember that picture of Marina holding it and the mother.
Oh, and the mother, right.
The big owlish glasses going to, I guess it was the funeral. Oh, not the funeral, the burial. But yeah, I don't know. And where they moved, I'm sure they moved out of Texas. But
I don't know. If someone knows, let us know.
Marina,
you would think that if Marina
had died, or
we'd know.
We'd know. Because I remember when the mother died, and I vaguely remember when that was announced some years ago. Because she looked like a Russian babushka mama, so that probably made her look older than she was. But that's 27. Next week from Friday.
She's 72.
She's 72 years old.
Who?
Marina.
Marina, so she's still
okay.
What her name is?
She was very young. Wow, that's amazing.
She was a young girl.
Her real name?
Wow.
No, but I mean Marina Oswald, Schwartz or whatever, the witness protection kind of stuff.
Well, if there was witness protection, they wouldn't be telling you.
That's true too. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Lynn, for C- Sokolowski. Yes, right.
Okay. We changed
No,
subjects?
it's interesting. It was very funny. I listened on, was it Saturday? It was something on NPR to Cyril Wecht, who's not one of my favorite people. Mm-hmm. But he was being very articulate. I have to give him credit for that.
I heard it too.
Publicity seeker that he is, but talking about all the things and, just the inconclusiveness of the evidence on the autopsy and...
well, he knows his stuff on that. PJ, don't call.
Why is PJ?
He's passionate about this and thinks he agrees with the one, and thinks that interview was an outrage, and he already said that. So don't. So I'll tell you, amazingly, our mayor, and I mean our current mayor, Luke. Is looking good. Everything is
compared to the Toronto guy.
Yeah, everything is relative, is it not? Everything is relative.
That one video where it's sort of cut off, so you almost don't see his head, but he's dancing.
We're talking about this unbelievable Toronto mayor.
Rob.
I mean, first of all, that is a huge city. That's not, I mean, Pittsburgh's like podunk compared to Toronto. Right. Toronto's huge, as is the mayor. Jeez.
Not a small boy.
No, he is just huge. And it just keeps piling up.
Right.
I mean, the drugs, the drunkenness, the this, the that, the illegalities. And did you see the video of the council meeting, Toronto council meeting? He actually was standing there while all the council is railing and taking votes and saying, get out of here. They have no power to tell you, please step aside. And it really, I've never understood understood or seen so clearly what is called denial about an addiction. You know, they say, well, they're in addiction.
Well, yeah, when I was in a drunken stupor, that's when, as if that was good.
This guy, he just was standing there and saying, I am not addicted to anything. I don't have, and and I am running again, and I am this, and I am that, and nothing's wrong with me. How can a sentient being...
and also the Canadians are so...
They're a little more straight-laced.
Yeah,
at
right? Least.
You think?
Well, definitely.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting is... he seems to be, from just a little bit I've read, like one of these, like, Yunzer, all the people who support him are these real, like, we're down-to-earth people, we're not going to do what those intellectuals want. And he's using that against, you know, I'm still for you, I'm one of the people, and I'll get your buses going. And
yeah, well, he actually said yesterday that he was a positive role model for children. Now, I got to tell you, that is somebody who's lost their mind. He's lost his mind, and there's
trashy Uncle Bobby.
And I guess they don't have recall. They really don't have any way to get rid of the guy. Caller, hi.
Good morning.
Hi.
Did you happen to see this mayor when he walked into the camera and hit his head?
No.
Oh, my. I don't know if he was high then or not, but he went right into the camera, and he's holding his head for about a minute.
Oh, how fun.
This guy's something else.
No, he really is.
And he just looks at me. He doesn't wear a tie, and he looks like a mess.
No, he was wearing a tie yesterday. I was wondering, do they make ties for very, very fat men so that the tie does continue?
Yes, you're going to get longer ones.
Over there. I mean, he has this huge stomach, and I thought the tie would end right, right here.
Right.
But it kept going. So
no, you're getting guy extra.
Thank you. That was a question.
Bob's big and tall. So.
Right. Okay. Caller, thank you.
Maybe
okay, I just want to say one other thing.
Okay.
You were talking about that machine that was 3D. I was watching a program the other night, and I guess in this, I don't know where it's at, we can make gold now.
Really?
In a lab.
Oh, God, it's like
modern day alchemy.
Really?
But it costs so damn much to make it, it's not profitable.
Thank
we'll
God.
See ya.
Bye.
No. I was just thinking maybe, what's his name again? Rob, isn't it? Something Rob, the mayor's name?
Yeah, Ford.
Ford. Oh, okay.
I think.
I thought it was Rob. I mean, anyway.
Rob Ford.
Rob Ford.
Oh, it's Rob Ford. Oh, I thought Rob was the last time. Anyway, maybe he could serve as the doppelganger for Chris Christie if he needs like a.
Well, I think he makes Chris Christie look svelte and.
Well, Christie has been losing weight.
Yeah.
Although he's still not a small girl. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
But he's also the same, very brusque.
Yeah, brusque. Well, maybe that comes with being that big a man. I don't know. I don't know. Colette writes, Marina Oswald remarried. Her daughter took her stepfather's last name, and the daughter, Colette thinks, is 53.
Oh, that would make sense, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, well, thank you for that. I always know you guys come through. And you've brought us to our first break of the day, and we'll be back immediately thereafter.
More is on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Need to get some rest. This is the worst headache ever.
Right arm's all tingly all of a sudden. Must have slept on her last night.
I keep losing my balance. These old bones need some exercise.
Granddaddy, what you just said doesn't even make sense. It sounds like gibberish.
Signs like these could be more than what they seem. They could be a sign of stroke.
Sudden weakness or numbness of the face, arm, or leg.
Sudden trouble with vision in one or both eyes.
Sudden trouble walking or difficulty with balance.
Or a sudden intense headache that comes out of nowhere.
If you or someone you know has any of these symptoms, don't wait. Call 911 immediately. You could make a difference in someone's life, someone you love, maybe even your own.
Time lost is brain lost.
Find out more at powertoendstroke.org. Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Download the CP Haps app to find out what's happening in Pittsburgh. It's the fun and free app that puts the most popular events at your fingertips. Text events to 77948 to download now. Available on the App Store and Google Play. Brought to you by Pittsburgh City Paper.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Tuesday, I think.
You ever had one of those?
No, but
Piece of cake.
well, they put you out. Yeah, well, that's Maybe I'll have to.
No. Shh. We're talking medical procedures.
Yes, exactly.
At
once
our
you hit
age.
62, you used to talk about
God.
Rock Hudson, and now you talk about hairballs and hernias. That'd be a good show.
Hairballs and hernias. You're
It'd be
thinking of what is that? Tots and tiaras and toddlers and tiaras.
Or it sounds very British. Hernias and hairballs.
All right, enough.
The life of a cat.
All right, enough. I got to tell you two things I came across that I found interesting that normally I don't think we would discuss. Okay. Somebody said to me yesterday, what kinds of things do you discuss on your show? And I really could not for the life of me figure out how to explain it.
We opine, or Lynn mostly opines on the world.
Well, I said a lot of political stuff, but then on the other hand, anything that, interests me. Yes. So this is somewhere over the weekend. I came upon this. This has nothing to do in particular. It has to do with a graduate of Allderdice High School. There's a lot of people that graduated from Allderdice who became very successful. A lot.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking earlier about Christopher O'Reilly, the one, the musical guy.
Okay, did he go to
Allderdice?
All right. But I mean, even bigger than that. Just a lot of people. They have a Hall of Fame.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And believe me, if my high school had a Hall of Fame,
you'd be at the top.
I'd be up there. But I'm trying to think. I think the biggest person.
There's some football person probably would.
Well, we've had things like federal judges and stuff that, but. The producer of the Academy Award-winning movie that Sally Field.
I loved it.
That Sally Field won the Academy Award for, about union organizing.
Oh, right. What was that one called?
Something Ray. It's a woman's name.
Yeah.
Something Ray. Something Ray.
Thelma Ray.
No, it's not.
Well, you don't remember either.
No, it's not, but I'm closer than you.
All right.
Okay, so she, and then the guy who starred in the TV series Monk, Tony Shalhoub.
Oh,
Love him.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, he went to my high school. And that's just a little teeny high school in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But Allderdice, Allderdice.
You'd probably have a lot of people who grew the biggest zucchini in 1946.
Yeah, we had a governor too.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
That kind of thing. But so anyway, but Allderdice has always impressed me. But my God, this one, the producers, directors, a lot of media people, this is and that. And here's one I hadn't heard of: Howie Gordon.
Oh yes, Howie Gordon was a porn star.
He's a porn star.
Oh yes, sure, I remember.
He's my age. He would have been in my class if I'd gone to Allderdice. And he's a nice Jewish boy too. Yeah. I saw the name Howie Gordon. I thought, oh, he's Jewish. And then I looked at him. Yeah, he's Jewish. Howie Gordon. And it says that after graduating, and you know who his pal was, who was in the same class with him at Allderdice, another Hall of Famer, Howard Feynman. Come on. He used to be a biggie at, was it then Newsweek magazine, and now he's on all the show. Howard Feynman? Oh. He's an excellent Washington reporter. And in fact, he and Howard Feynman had a column that they wrote for what was then the Jewish Community Center, although it wasn't called that then. And it was called Here's How, because they both had Howie and Howie, right? So it says he graduated in 1970, and he spent, no. He would have graduated in 1966. Oh, but this is from college. He went to Antioch College. And then he graduated in college in 70, went to Washington, D.C., worked in federal anti-poverty programs, went off to California with a girlfriend, because that's the kind of thing you did back then. Yeah. And he thought about becoming a rabbi, it says here. But when he found out he would have to travel to Israel and study Aramaic for 2 years, he opted instead to appear in a porn film. Well, isn't that funny?
Yes.
I mean, excuse me? I don't know if it happened quite like that. I think I'm going to become a rabbi. And then you look into it. Okay,
Oh,
well,
by
if
the
I
way.
can't become a rabbi, all right, well, damn, I don't want to become a rabbi. That sounds too strenuous. Well, I guess I'll be a
become
porn
Long
star.
Dong
Well,
Silver.
jeez, how do you go from one to the other? It's beyond...
From Aramaic to French, so to speak.
Well, I guess it was. He said he was working. At the time, he had a construction job. He was making $5 a day, and someone happened to tell him, you can be in an X-rated film and get $200 a day. So I guess that was
the clincher.
That was the clincher. Anyway, one of Pittsburgh's own.
He was a centerfold, as I remember, in Playgirl.
He was named Man of the Year in Playgirl.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
Allderdice's own.
Yeah, really.
Well, So, do you think they let him into the Allderdice Hall of Fame?
No fame.
I mean,
is
if you're
fame.
a porn star, does your high school laud you for becoming a porn star?
Well, maybe we should take a field trip. We're looking for.
Okay.
Or if they have a copy of his issue of Playgirl in the school library.
Gosh, I mean, people's lives are.
The
they're
twists and
interesting.
turns,
When earnest high schoolers who think they know what they want and have things mapped out, I often say to them, don't put yourself in some kind
Especially when you're young.
I mean, you don't know what life's going to throw
Well, when
at
you think of yourself, think of myself. I mean, we're both relatively boring in the sense that you began with certain little twists and turns, but as a journalist, and you're still a journalist. And I began
as a dispatcher of garbage trucks.
Oh.
That was my
but
first
for the majority of your life, though, you've been
Then
a
I was a
journalist.
secretary. No, I think I took a very circuitous
Oh, really?
route.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had not a clue what I could do or be.
Now, tell me about what dated hour-by-hour, minute-by-minute basis does the dispatcher of garbage trucks
Well,
do?
that was only part of my job as
I
the
see.
secretary to the superintendent of public works of Winnetka, Illinois.
Oh. It must have been good garbage, because Winnetka is rather
It's
upscale.
very good garbage, and people would call
All those tins
specifically-
of caviar. Excuse me.
And I had that job when I was like maybe 19 or 20.
Oh, okay.
Because that was maybe the first time I dropped out of Northwestern.
Okay.
I drop in, I drop out. I drop in, I drop out. And when I dropped out, my parents would say, and so I get a job.
Get thee to the garbage department.
Then after wearying of the grind of being a secretary to the superintendent of public works, but in that job, guess who I met? Charlton Heston.
Oh, my. Now tell us, what was is this story as good as the one that chuckles?
No. But I'm sitting there at my desk.
Yes.
And doing my thing, typing and dispatching garbage trucks and stuff. And there's a big, then there's a big counter, and the public would be on the other side of it. And somebody walked in and was standing at the counter, and I looked up.
This Charlton Heston.
And it was Ben-Hur! It was Ben-Hur! I'd know him anywhere. And I said, "What? Hello!"
Now, did you have the voice then?
No, probably, pretty much. I said, "Well, hi." He said, "Hello." He said, "I was told that I needed to come here to get a pass for the tennis court."
How bizarre.
I know.
Well, now, what
and
was
then
he
I
doing
said,
in
so
Winnetka,
I said, so
Illinois?
what brings you to Winnetka? And he said, well, I'm visiting my sister. And in fact, his sister had been a
garbage man.
No, a professor at Northwestern, theater professor at Northwestern or something.
Okay.
I don't know. But he was
And that's how you got your break. That's how I was like, and then he said, "Darling,
You
must
should be in pictures."
Yes, we need to have another burning person on the stake in Ben Hur.
And I didn't. He didn't have the reputation he has now as being, a right-wing, gun-toting nutcase.
Yeah.
So
Well, he's dead, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Don't have that reputation no more.
So anyway, yeah. And then, there were many, many things after that I did.
Okay.
So I had no idea.
That you become a journalist.
No. And I always tell people, they say, how do I get to do it? I said, you do not want to follow the path I took. Because it took me, you don't want to.
Well, but see, I would say one thing about that, though, is. No, but the point is, I think one thing about our generation, which sadly, and this becomes a bitch bigger thing, and hopefully it's not just like old curmudgeons bitching about the young, but both in education, we had time to take medieval poetry of the hinterlands or something, and now with the switch away from what do you call it? Humanities studies, etc. People I'm pre-med.
Yeah, right.
And they take courses and they're good at science, whatever, but they're never educated.
That's right.
And I think the same thing with jobs. How can you tell you want to be a doctor until you've whatever? I think it's very interesting because I remember hearing this because we worked with a guy at the Warhol Museum. Here at medical school at Pitt, I guess, once you finish your 4 years, and I guess you do your internship, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think after you finish your internship, you are forced to take a year off.
Where?
At medical school here in Pittsburgh. Yes. And they want you then to go and have some life enriching. So this guy, who was already quite a professional, don't stop shaking your head.
I've never heard of such a thing.
This was a reality. Anyway, this guy who was a very good plastic surgeon, and he was an expert on really fixing people's hands where combine, cut off 2 fingers, and he'd create other fingers out of your thigh bone or something. He then went to CMU in the art department.
Now, when was this?
Well, this was while I was here, so I would say maybe a dozen years ago.
I want somebody to either confirm or deny that you, after your internship, you're forced to
in certain
you go then directly into residency.
Well, but the whole point was with this, or maybe it was after. It was some point in the process, but it was like they wanted you to have that, and you could just go climbing in the Himalayas. You didn't have to go, but it was the guy's idea of sort of what were you going to bring from the outside world?
Okay, well, I think that's a great idea.
To make you a richer doctor, not in the financial sense, but that you could understand in your diagnostic processes, what have you.
Hey, Rosie, thank you. It's Norma Ray.
Norma Ray, that's right.
Right. Thank you very much. Famous Taylor Allderdice grads.
Oh, my, she's all.
This is from PJ. Gee whiz.
I've not heard of a single one.
Oh, no,
of
you know,
these.
Marty Allen. He's come on.
No, I don't know him.
You'd know him if you saw him.
Oh,
He has
well,
wild black hair, and he's a comedian. Old
okay.
comedian.
That's something Gene Shalit.
All right, Myron Cope.
Yeah, I know him.
I'm only going to go for the biggies here.
Well, Caligari, yes.
Yeah, but that's not Bob O'Connor. I mean...
Iris Rainer Dart.
Iris Rainer Dart. She's a lovely woman, and I've interviewed her a few times. She is an author, and she writes... Didn't she wrote the book that became the movie with Bette Midler? The wind beneath my... I think so.
Beaches. Jess is going through paroxysms
Yes,
of
I believe so.
Joy.
And her father owned the hardware store on Murray Avenue that I used to love, but now is no longer.
Oh, there's another porn star.
There's Howard. There's another porn star. Richard Pacheco.
Don't know who that is.
Oh, and he was a year after the other porn star.
There must be something horny in that. In those class, in
and then there's
there.
the Lapita sisters, who I know, and they're wonderful television producers and writers. Evan Wolfson is huge civil rights attorney. He's the one who first floated, as far as I know, the idea of gay marriage.
Oh.
And wrote a wonderful book.
Oh, okay.
Why Marriage Matters.
Oh, yes, I met him, actually. He came and spoke.
Yeah, he's a lovely
That's
guy.
right. He was nice.
There's
Rob
Rob Marshall, the Tony Award, Oscar-winning,
right.
blah, blah, blah. Kathleen Marshall,
That's right.
same, his sister. Antoine Fuqua, another... they just...
Well, I mean, how do they call this?
Billy
like,
Porter,
such a tremendous...
Curtis Martin, a great football player. Wiz Khalifa and Mac Miller, the two rappers that are getting closer to our time.
Can I comment on this?
Mm-hmm.
I would say this seems picayune compared to when you look at the alumni of Westinghouse High School.
Well,
All those
Westinghouse has
incredible
more musicians.
No, but some people of real stature, not like the third banana.
So you're going to say you're going to put Westinghouse's grads up against and say they beat out Allderdice.
Well, Earl Garner.
Garner.
What was it? Billy Epstein? No.
Eckstein.
No, it wasn't him. It was the gay one.
Yeah. Who wrote all of the Duke's songs?
Yeah,
Strayhorn.
Billy Strayhorn. No, they had famous people.
Actually, my friend who was here yesterday on the show, Patricia Prattis Jennings, who was one of the first African American principals in an American orchestra.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, well, that'd be. Oh, let's have a rumble between the alums of Westinghouse.
A rumble. The Jets are gonna have their way tonight.
Let's do it. Come on.
A rumble with these people who are either dead or 75. Give me some rumble. What do you call it? Wheelchair rumble?
Oops! Look at that. If it ain't time to take another break. You see how time flies when you're having fun?
Oh, God, yes, exactly. I feel like I've swallowed a feather. Let's see what PJ has there.
No.
Yeah,
You just go to break. Go to break.
For more with Lynn Cullen live after this.
Just in time for the holidays, Little Shoes is your UGG headquarters. Little's has the largest selection of UGGs for men, women, and children to stay warm with shearling-lined boots, shoes, and slippers. Don't forget to get your hats, gloves, scarves, and more. Bring the entire family to view one of the largest in-store UGG shops in the U.S. All available at Little Shoes, Pittsburgh's largest family shoe store. Forbes Avenue in Squirrel Hill or littleshoes.com.
Go to the all-new bergbargains.com for great deals on gift cards from your favorite local restaurants, bars, museums, attractions, and shows. Log on now for great deals from Ibiza, Atria's, Monticello's, the Pittsburgh Opera, and City Theater. The all-new bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains, bergbargains.com.
Have a question or an opinion? Call Lynn Cullen at 412-316-3381 or email lynn@pghcitypaper.com. Now, more with Lynn Cullen Live.
Yeah, I want to thank again, PJ, thank you. Yes, I knew that somewhere. Marina Oswald's name is Porter now. She married a guy named Porter. And, yeah. All right, so here's just another one that blew my mind. This was in the New York Times today. This is a guy, an auto mechanic.
Yes.
In where? In Argentina or something?
Oh, I think I read this.
Yeah, an auto mechanic in Argentina. 59 years old, and his name is Jorge Odon.
Whatever.
Anyway, he happened to see on YouTube a video of how if a cork goes into a bottle of wine, how you can get it out.
Oh, okay.
And it involves sticking a plastic bag into the bottle, and then sort of like the bag surrounds the cork or something, and then you pull, I don't know, but it works, whatever, it works. Extracting a lost cork from a wine bottle.
Okay.
And if I find it here, okay. So he goes to sleep that night, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and he says,
Eureka.
Eureka. Why, you could do that to get a baby out of the
uterus.
Out of the uterus.
Talk about a leap of faith.
In a difficult difficult delivery.
But he wasn't. No, he was a car mechanic. He had 19
He's a
medicine.
car mechanic. And in the morning, he runs around the house. He gets
looking for a uterus.
He gets a glass jar to serve as a womb.
Okay.
He gets his daughter's doll. He says, "Here, honey, give me the doll." He sticks the doll in to use as the baby. And he gets his wife to sew a bag of plastic with a sleeve on it, and in he goes, and yes, is able to essentially do the same thing, to surround the baby's head, the doll's head, and then whoosh, just pull it right flat out. Well, let me tell you something. The medical world is
this is
agog.
Just happened?
Yeah, it hasn't been. They are now working on prototypes that will work. Doctors say this guy, the auto mechanic in Argentina, that his
all funded by baggies.
His dream, whatever happened in his unconscious mind with that,
amazing.
having seen that YouTube video, has the potential to save millions of lives, millions of babies, millions of mothers, to prevent and reduce the number of C-sections. And
also, I would think sometimes, people who try to have lawsuits for medical malpractice when they have to use forceps to pull the baby's head out and they leave dents.
Well, that's what they say. Up till now, all they had were like the forceps, and they could crush the baby's head, twist the baby's spine. They really, they have not come up with anything. Amazing. This Argentine auto mechanic has this eureka moment.
Wow, that's amazing.
And he has continued to refine the device. He took his idea to a doctor who actually said, "Look, I'm on a car. I'll give you 2 seconds. Tell me what you want to." He said, some car mechanic telling him, "Hey, I got a better way to deliver it." And they ended up talking for 2 hours.
Wow.
And the doctor said, "Oh, my God." And off they went, and one thing led to the other. He's continued to refine the device. He's no idiot, obviously, and he has patented every single one. They think once they make this thing, and they do already have certain ones that they've created, but they want to get it just right. And obviously they have a lot of big companies now working to get the device right.
Do they say what is basically the principle? I mean, what my thought
Okay, well, let me
explain
explain about the cork. Yeah, let me explain. Here's where it says how the cork worked. This is what gave him the idea. So the video showed that a cork pushed into an empty bottle can be
why did you care?
I don't know. Can be retrieved by inserting a plastic grocery bag, blowing until it surrounds the cork.
So you'd have the open end.
Yeah.
I would have thought the other way.
Yeah, and then somehow it pulls right out.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in the midst of our drunken debauches tonight, let's all try this.
He says, this is just going to be amazing.
Wow.
And so here's what one doctor who's now working on this says. Medical science never came up with a dang thing.
Right.
We needed someone like this car mechanic. An obstetrician would have tried to improve the forceps or improve the vacuum extractor, which is sometimes used. But he said this needed a mechanic to have the idea. And he said, and also 10 years ago, this would not have happened. Because 10 years ago, the auto mechanic would not have seen the video on YouTube that prompted him to have the idea of how. He said.
I was just thinking, can you imagine the future driving past Jiffy Lube and it says lube and baby deliveries, $1,000. No, what's funny about that? Just about 2-3 weeks ago, on a Saturday afternoon, I was listening in the car to NPR, and they were talking to Dr. Heimlich, as in the Heimlich, who's still alive.
Yeah.
And he was talking about the fact that he, it seems, has discovered, he's most well known for the Heimlich maneuver, of course, but has invented about 20 or 30 major apparati, etc., in the medical profession. Like he once learned there was some kind of thing with a little flap that would prevent someone bleeding to death. Mm-hmm. And he just had a little piece of plastic, and he did this thing. Oh, that'll work. And it turned out this was just during the Vietnam period. And they made hundreds of thousands of these little flap things, and it saved so many GIs who would have bled to death.
It's just amazing.
Extraordinary.
My head does not work in this way. If left to me, I'd still be living in a cave, not unable to figure out how to make fire.
Make a flint.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I can't imagine ever figuring anything out. Yeah. So I'm just blown away by people who have this genius.
Well, I thought it was very interesting the comment that was made about only a mechanic, because who thinks of it not in these ennobling terms, but like the knee bones connect to the thigh bone. If the thigh bone goes this ways, the knee bone's going to go that a ways, and that's how you do it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's quite extraordinary.
Okay, so since you be our art expert,
yes.
Says here that there was a Warhol.
Oh, what did it go for? I didn't see that yet.
It went 8 by 13 foot painting titled "Silver Car Crash."
Yes, right.
Went for $105 million, which is a record for a Warhol piece.
A green version of that.
The green car crash was the previous one, sold for 71 mil. So it went up that much. And get this.
Bought it?
No. The silver car crash, by the way, depicts a twisted body sprawled across a car's mangled interior.
Right.
It has only been seen once in public in the past 26 years.
Right.
Okay. Now, first of all, it strikes me as odd that particularly gruesome thing would be his number one seller. Why is that?
Well, it's not his number one seller, but he didn't do, I think there are only 4 versions of that.
All right.
The museum has a white one. And so rarity is one thing, and also paintings that have been out of the public
view. Get value.
Well, because they're not so well known, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And also, many, many people feel, and I would be part of this group, that his series of works, which are called Death and Disaster, which were all the works, so we have a connection here, that started after the Kennedy assassination and went on through most of the 60s, are some of his most poignant and powerful works, because they deal with the human condition, and that it wasn't so much even, President Kennedy being shot by an assassin, but, in the early days when he depicted an automobile, it was like this slick Chevy that you take your babe and you ride along the West Coast Highway and in Malibu or something. But now, what happens when you're drunk driving and you're in this, and they turn over, or electric chairs and other sorts of things he did during this period. So they are some of his most powerful works.
Okay. Now, you didn't even blink when I said 105 mil. And because
I knew the 71, so I'm
okay. And so another high water mark was set. Was it Tuesday?
Oh yes.
With the sale of Francis Bacon, this British painter. Right. $142 million. His piece, which is 3 studies of Lucian Freud, who's another artist who's they were friends. Okay, so this is an artist painting another artist, and that now is the largest, the most expensive painting ever. $142 million, and that was sold at Christie's. Okay, here's what I want to read to you. This is written by the art critic Roberta Smith in the New York Times today.
Okay.
Auctions have become the leading indicator of ultra-conspicuous consumption, pieces of public, male-dominated theater in which collectors, art dealers, and auction houses flex their monetary clout, mostly for one another. The spectacle of watching these privileged few, mostly hedge fund managers and investment-hungry consortiums, tossing around huge amounts of money, has become a rarefied spectator sport. These events are painful to watch, yet impossible to ignore, and deeply alienating if you actually love art for its own sake.
Yeah, that's true.
You plead guilty.
Well, I'm not a player of that. I'm part of the art world.
I know, but it's your world. And this is what it's become. It's meaningless, this now.
Well, I would say, what about your world and CBS having to retract the Benghazi?
It's like this. It is, again, it's a male-dominated, mine's bigger than yours contest.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the value of theater.
Of course.
And no one would argue that this now record setter, which will be broken next auction,
right.
142 mil, that this piece is the greatest, even among the greatest pieces of art. It ain't.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with its real value.
But the only thing I would say to that is, I mean, Roberta is a little, she always takes a sort of feminist twist to twist.
Well, I don't care. It is all male.
Well,
it is all male. Name a woman.
So is the stock market. So is, whatever. Major journalism. So is whatever.
So is everything that is corrupted and effed up.
All
right. So listen to this. It is. She says the whole art scene is becoming almost as irrelevant as the reputation, and market of the painter Thomas Kincaid, who is, by the way, like a
schlocky painter. Beloved by many, but schlocky.
Well, I just wanted to. I've been saying this all the time. I mean, I have no respect for this kind of for any. It seems like this will harm art ultimately. This kind of ridiculous
it won't. I mean,
excess.
Great, powerful imagery. You walk through the Met, and people are still overwhelmed by works of art. But no, I mean, but it does put. I remember one person.
Okay, we got a caller. Hello, caller.
Hi, guys. Not justifying the art scene, but it's no different than professional baseball, professional football.
Money. Well,
it's whenever they criticize them for selling paintings for that, and it being about genitalia size, then it's the same with football.
No, it's true. No, you're right. Absolutely.
Well, it's about
or movie stars.
It's about the corruption of money.
Yeah, basically. But that's it. And if you're not going to get if you get that upset, about the art, then you have to do it about football and everything too.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I'd like to sell a painting for that much.
No, sure. Like, who wouldn't?
I'd have a beautiful studio, and I would be able to relax and make work from it on. But that's the other thing that bothers me about it, though. In a kind of a way, it's kind of a Ticketmaster situation, too, where the artists aren't seeing it's so far removed from the artists themselves.
Well, that's true. They don't see a penny of this. Because for a long time...
Wait a minute. The artist doesn't see a penny?
No, because the money goes from
owner to
Tom Sokolowski, the seller, to the buyer. Now, there have been instances where governments have tried, and they've tried in the United States, to have this, incremental... when he originally sold that painting, I don't know how much.
Sort of like, shouldn't the artist get a royalty of some sort every time there's a transaction?
But they do from the initial sale, but after that,
exactly.
It's a commodity.
Well, because also the other part is that oftentimes, if an artist is still alive, you can buy the painting, but you don't necessarily get the copyright, because the artist feels, well, all right, you can buy my painting maybe for a good amount of money, but I'm a well-known artist, or the subject may be something of great interest to the world, and I know that it will be used to illustrate an op-ed piece that Lynn Cullen is going to write. So I want to get the money for that use on the op-ed page of the Post-Gazette. But no. In terms of these increments, no. The artist, and you think of back, let's say Picasso or someone like that, where the painting was sold in 1920. And it was sold. Well, even Warhol. I mean, his early Marilyns, the ones that now bring hundreds of millions of dollars, he sold them for around $2,500, and doesn't reap any more than.
Well, and baseball players didn't get used to be paid that much. I don't know. It's just
Kurt
disgusting.
Flood, right? He was the first free agent in baseball.
Who?
Kurt Flood, wasn't that his name?
Kurt Flood.
Yeah, fought for free agency.
Yeah, and he didn't see any benefit from it.
No.
He just made
all those guys, and unfortunately, they're all in as far as grains go. And not only did they not get the money, but they also got the damage. So.
Well, the football
Okay, guys,
players.
I'll see you.
Thank you, PJ. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, the football players. God Almighty. They're getting.
Well, it's all supply and demand, and who can get there first. And then what gets worse with someone like Steve Cohen, who not only made $1 billion in his SAC hedge fund stuff, but was doing it through illegalities, through insider trading.
He was buying up all the art. Well,
I'm talking about the
hedge fund.
well, no, but I'm talking about his deals on the stock market, not the paintings. I mean, he was buying those up, and I'm sure there was all sorts of weirdness there too. But now he's selling, half these paintings that were on sale the last two sales, Christie's and Sotheby's, because he needs to pay what was the fine?
I don't
10, 21 billion or some dreadful amount.
Yeah. Well, with the art he has, he'll make the money.
Yeah. And then he'll buy more.
Sickening. Sickening. I mean, she points out, you take that amount of money, and what could be done with that amount? She says the amount spent on the Freud thing
Triptych
could, I guess, is more than the National Endowment for the Arts gets for a year.
Yes, definitely.
So where that amount of money can benefit so many people.
Well, except that's sort of slightly specious because, you can say about everything in the world.
I know.
Going past the first store next to this building would have been coke costs, and that could, have a child who's born deformed with a hair lip and all this stuff, The world is not fair.
On that brilliant statement.
Yes, so potent, so profound, and without a Valley Girl upend.
Yes, and I think I sort of ceased and desisted in that regard.
Get out!
Get out! Okay, thank you, Thomas, as usual.
Oh, thank you, my dear.
Didn't mean to give offense to your entire profession.
Oh, well, it needs a good smack once in a while.
God knows. And thank you all. I'll be here tomorrow with Chris Potter.
Good.
Have a good one.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.